Today we're going to be speaking with Fedrick Dacres, 2018 GLNR Sportsman of the Year and 2019 World Championship silver medalist. What we're going to be talking to him today is exactly the future for athletics post COVID-19.
Hey, Fedrick.
Hey, what's up, man?
Nothing much, nothing much. How are you doing?
Well, I can't complain at all.
Good. Excellent, excellent, excellent. Thank you very much for joining us. For those who are tuning in, please feel free to send in the questions that you have, and we'll try to see if we can get one or two of them to Fedrick before the time runs out. First of all, the first question that I have, for everybody, how are you been doing? How you've been keeping, with everything with COVID-19 and you protecting yourself?
Well, I've been good. I can't complain, man. In terms of protection, I'm not a person that goes out, a lot. So, I'm not as exposed as everyone else. So, yeah, I'm good. I can't complain, man.
Excellent, excellent. Glad to hear that. The first thing I want to start with is that I noticed an Instagram post of you managing to get some throws in, and obviously it must have been a bit liberating for you after being cooped up in isolation. Can you just tell us in terms of what did it feel for you to finally get back to throwing again in some capacity?
Yeah, well, I've been home lifting, so it's in terms of training, I have been doing that, but that does get tiring, and with you knowing that the season might just be continuing, so it has been rough, as I'd have to get my mind off actually throwing. But to actually go out and throw again, I'm not where I would have wanted to be, but it's a given based on I haven't been throwing for a few months. But I'm thankful for where I am though.
I know it must have been some sort of relief to finally, so at least because you've, as you said, you've been lifting weights and everything, and you've been trying to do strength training, but in order to just get back in terms of to throwing again, it must have been a good relief for you.
Of course. To stretch my legs and actually do the technique, with actually having distances and actually having the implement, that is, it's a breath of fresh air.
Excellent. For those who have not been, more appreciative of in terms of what has been like for an athlete, with the events shutting down because of COVID-19. Can you just give us an idea as to what have you been dealing with? Not just obviously limited training, but the mental aspect of it.
For me, personally, it has been. I prepped for this, so I actually expected, this to actually happen. So in terms of actually, hitting me psychologically, it never really did. And as I said, I'm a person who I'm not really, I'm very social, but I'm not a person who is like, I'm always out in the social life or anything like that. So it never really affected me as much, I stay home, and I watch a lot of animes and all that. So, that's my company. So, it never hit me like a ton of bricks, but it does, it hits hard though. For athletes, you don't know what's going on, and a lot of people are putting all their eggs in, in this athletics thing. So, for them, they're thinking about how they're going to earn and how much money they need to pay for whatever they need to pay for and all of that. So the entire thing, it might be stressing for some, but it's not as stressing for others because others probably have a cushion in terms of like probably have a sponsorship. In terms of sponsorship, even when you don't do anything but based on your contract, you are okay because you are getting a certain amount of money and you are guaranteed that money. But for those who aren't as privileged or those who aren't as blessed, it is a bit more stressing. And I've been reading a lot of athletes all around the world. They're stressing about money and all that. So, I can see where that might affect your mental state, and a lot of athletes are actually in limbo at this point.
Mm-hmm. And because of that limbo, what has been in terms of from your colleagues that you have spoken to, your teammates, what has been the most difficult part about the inactivity?
I think the most difficult part is the not knowing. It's more like you're just here and you don't know what's gonna happen. You don't know whether or not the season is going to continue because as you know, a lot of us make money from actually competing. So if we're not competing, we're not earning, right? So the not knowing what is going to happen or what the year is going to bring, and it's like that is the main stress. Like that is where the psychological strain actually comes in. But yeah.
Hmm. Definitely must be, and obviously, a concern that you share is obviously a concern that I'm pretty sure that a lot of
Hmm.
athletes
Of
do
course.
share. In bringing that in, World Athletics has recently announced a
Yeah.
provisional schedule, and that, of course, that depends on a lot of things coming into play. First of all, I just want to get your reaction to them setting a provisional schedule to start in August. And
Hmm.
also, do you feel that because of the uncertainty that athletes feel, do you think that one, is there still an appetite for, is there still a desire for athletes to compete
Hmm.
this season? And your personal feelings about it. Do you want to compete this season?
Um, that's that's it. No, to be honest, you lose your athletic drive after a while. Not saying you don't want to, but with everything that's going on, you're a bit more relaxed. And even in the off season, it would be like off season for us because normally at this point we would be fully into the season and competing regularly. So for us to actually be in background training at this point, it's really hard to actually put your mind back in the state of mind to actually get going again because a lot of people like well myself I wrote off this season because I was saying that based on everything that's going on, I don't think, it would be wise for us to even travel and compete, much as compete. So, and with everything, the stadiums won't be packed or anything like that. So there won't be like an extreme big drive to actually push forward. So for athletes, I know a lot of people who who are saying that it's really hard for them to actually get back into training, but you have many that didn't stop training.
Mhm.
And to be honest, this season, the way I see it, I spoke to my friend the other day about this, and we really came to, and it's really for this season. I don't think that the people who would actually perform well this season are the people who are privileged, because not everyone is privileged enough to actually have like a a 4-star rating gym at home and anything like that. Many don't even have a track or anything like that. So even through us, unless you have a backyard that's like country, it's really hard to actually do what you're supposed to. So when this season picks up, if it is that we're going to compete, well, I'm talking about like international, like Europe, because the Europeans have that land, they have that space to actually do all that, and the Americans to a certain extent. So it's really harder for us to actually get back in the vibe, knowing that we might be a bit off, that we're not starting at zero like everyone would normally. But there are many who want to compete like myself. Now I'm getting into the frame of mind to actually want to compete. So yeah. So
So even though the inactivity, and because you felt that you wrote off this season, because do you feel that because they're putting in something in the future, something to look forward to, has that you feel that that has reinvigorated your mind to want to at least compete in some capacity this
yeah,
season?
yeah, man, of course. I always want to compete because I have goals. And the thing is that it makes no sense I just sit back when others are working. So I'm always motivated, but sometimes I need a push. I will work hard, but in terms of competitive drive, I'm getting back into that because I realize that there are things that I want to do this year, and if I'm supposed to compete, I will compete. But yeah, I'm not in the 100 like the full on let's get it vibe, like yeah. But I'm getting there because I'm seeing what's going on. I think a competition is coming up soon in Europe. So I'll be watching that to see how well I can fare in terms of like being ready, the readiness, or where I am in terms of training. But um, I think a lot of athletes want to compete at this point as well, even though they don't want to. If you get what I'm saying, it's more about the fear of not being ready. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. and in terms of that fear of not being ready
Mm-hmm.
might lead some athletes. Do you think
Yeah.
leads might athletes to say, you know what, let's just shut it down for this
Yeah.
season and work
Yeah.
to 2021?
Yeah. I've heard a few people saying that they're not going to follow through this season, but I don't think you should take it up. Probably if you're injured or anything, like that, why not? Yeah, you can probably just just rest and heal. But if you're okay, why take it off? It's going on, so why not partake?
Mhm. What is if you were to compete, if you were to say, all right, fine, I will try to see if I can make it to a European circuit meet this year.
Mm.
What are the kind of safety protocols that have to be in place that will make you feel comfortable in traveling?
Um, Normally in terms of safety, it's normal. If I was to think about it, I think the Europeans, in terms of like, I've actually traveled a lot and I've competed a lot for the years. It's now pretty safe. Even in this COVID time, I don't think they would have to change much. Probably they would have to like probably get a sterile bus or anything like that. Just isolate athletes and everything. But I think generally it's a pretty safe system. Like there's not many run-ins with people who you aren't supposed to, you know what I mean? So when you get to Europe or whatever, you get to anywhere you're supposed to be, there's normally a protocol that you follow. You go here, then you go here. You go here, sign up here, whatever. There's not much, you know, other than probably at the airport, like, but everyone interacts at the airport. But when you're in the care of like the meets and all that, it's pretty safe based on what I remember.
Mhm. So in terms of just making sure that things are sanitized and that you are
Hmm.
protected, going and it starts from I would believe from when you reach the airport and everything.
Hmm. Yeah, man. Everything is pretty standard. Like, I've never felt unsafe when I've traveled. So I'll say maybe just my experience, but I don't think there's much to be done. So yeah.
Mhm. What we talk about in terms of isolating athletes and making sure that they're in quarantine and everything before that, and of course there has been a concern that the time that it would take to do that,
Mm.
that it would not make sense in terms of having
I mean,
the meets there. I wanted to try get in terms of your mindset from that, because assuming that the travel restrictions in Jamaica still stay are relaxed after after this month, there may be an opportunity to travel, albeit with maybe some
mm,
protocols. So in terms of, for those, are you ready to expose? Does it feel like you're exposing yourself to risk in
it
terms
is.
of go to competitions?
It is actually exposing yourself because you're actually going to a different country. You don't know how many cases are actually in this country, or even if you do, you don't know how many cases are not reported. So for you to actually go to the country, you're putting yourself at risk. But for me, I won't put myself at risk unless it is, absolutely necessary and the protocol, like everything is like clean, so I don't have to interact with as much people. So in terms of touching and whatever, I said, like, for me it has never been a problem in terms of the whole setup of the meets. So I generally think that I'd be okay. What I wouldn't be okay with is probably the interaction leading to Europe. That probably might be my only deterrent, where I'd have to take care of myself in terms of that, though. That wouldn't be any fault of the meet organizers, because I would have been the one who say, okay, cool, I am going to this meet, so I know all the risks. So for me to take up myself and actually go, I'd have to protect myself firstly, and I think the meet organizers will put together like a solid system where athletes are safe, or else they would, put on the meat. Yeah.
Mm. What obviously, there are some athletes that may not, share the same views as you, saying that, because of that fear that they want to, shut it down completely. But
Mhm.
there are those that are trying to at least balance, I need to make sure that I stay safe, but recognizing that this is my job.
Yeah.
This is what I do to make an income. In
It
terms
is.
of factoring into those decisions, how do you, in terms of an athlete, for you to try keep that balance in terms of your decision making? Because it definitely must be in terms of something that you have to consider.
Yeah, of course. I think you'll have to weigh the pros and cons of each. Um, so one, you could go to the meet and actually, make a lot of money or whatever, make a good amount of money, but you're still putting yourself at risk. Or you could just stay home and watch your dollar dwindle. You know what I'm saying? So in terms of life you'd want to live if you life you'd want to live if you were if you were actually doing so what I'm realizing a lot of people compare themselves is comparing these times with normal times, and I don't think they fully understand that this is not normal times, and certain things has it definitely it has to be done. So for me to actually go abroad and actually compete, I think it is my job. It is my job, and if I think that I can do it, I'll do it. But it's up to everyone because everyone's needs aren't the same, and my needs probably I think okay cool I don't have to do it, but you have others who say okay cool I need to do this because I need to pay this, I need to do this and all that. So it's really to everyone. It's up to you. It's up to you whether or not you want to do it. No one is forcing you, but it's really up to you to do it whether or not you want to live a certain type of lifestyle through this time, or you want to see a dollar.
O'Keel Stewart, one of the coaches and coach for Rochelle Clayton, said recently that it's really the athlete's call.
Yeah.
Really, the athlete's call in terms of whether um, to go to the meets or not. And I'm pretty sure. And athlete yourself, do you feel that to make sure? Why is it important? I just want for those who don't have a good appreciation of it. Why is it important for the athletes to have a final say, not just because the fact that you're the ones taking the risk?
Well, I think us taking the risk says it all, because you can't really say okay cool. You can't tell me that to jump in the fire. You can't tell me to jump in the fire when you aren't going to come with me. So you can't tell me to do something like that if you aren't coming with me. And if I'm going to take the risk, I should be the one to say, okay, cool, I need to do this. You can't force someone to do it. So in terms of the whole athlete, it's the athlete's call. It's always been the athlete's call, but in this case more so than anything else, because you're putting yourself at risk. You are the one who probably can get sick, and you're the one who probably can die. So it is always your call, if you want to do it or not. I say it's for your own needs, like to everyone there, to each your own. So if you think that you need to do it, do it. But I don't think a coach should force an athlete to actually go to Europe based on their selfish agenda. So it's always the athlete's call.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I wanted to ask this because in light of this provisional schedule being out, do you think that World Athletics was doing due diligence to try at least to get something going, or was it a little bit too hasty? Because there's a lot of sports trying to have a pathway to at least to start back. Do you think in terms of that they were being too hasty, or they were just trying to at least do their due diligence?
Um, to be honest, I think it was a bit rushed. I don't think this COVID pandemic has settled as much as it should have before the season commences. But I don't think what I can say. I don't think anyone understands what's really going on. So you can't really say it's too late or it's too early. I just think they're trying to plan ahead, and and based on the provisional it's they are hoping. It's not really that it's set in stone, but they're hoping that by time they're giving like athletes like a heads up to say, okay, cool, we may start here, right? So yeah, I think there's no real set knowledge to navigate this time, but I think they're trying, and we'll just have to see how it goes.
I wanted to just segue for a little bit because there's a lot of persons that don't really know about you the athlete, and there's some people on the chat that are appreciated from your Calabar, from your days at Calabar. What was can you tell us in terms of what has been the most unique thing or far out thing that's of your school days in Calabar and competing?
Well, all right. So try to remember my school days. All right. While competing at Calabar, I was always late. I was always late to come. Like even at champs, my first year at champs, I was actually late in coming out. And the thing is that when you have the entire Calabar team behind you, so I remember like I went to the bathroom and my senior guy, we're in the same class but he's my senior. He's Oshane Chambers. He came out before me. So when he came out before me, I came out after. So when I came out after, everyone knew that I was going to throw. So everyone knew me as Banji. So so when I came out, and I never even looked in the crowd, so I was just walking. So I hear, Banji! So the whole entire crowd would live up on because I was in like at that time, Calabar had like a ninja suit, so I was fully zipped up, but we recognized that it was me. With a third round, man, it's the first time I was ever so, timid in my life because I never knew what to, because this was my first champs, so I never know what to do, and, the whole thing, I said, geez, oh my God, I'm going to mess up here, so that was like a real thing for me, like, probably the people who've experienced it, yeah.
Did the experience at least teach you anything about staying calm? Because obviously from that experience you probably learned to at least calm yourself for your future competitions at champs.
Yeah, all right. So this is a story that not many know. I don't mind saying it because I've passed it. So I had a friend. His name was Fedrick Dacres. Fedrick Dacres. So Fedrick was like the guy to beat, like leading up to champs. But at champs, I think I came. Like this was in class, so at champs I came like I think I came third, yeah. But I also broke the record, so I was the first one to break the record. But I never left with the record. So I remember character. I think I remember character. Chadwick said to me, I think he won the shot put and broke the shot put record. A character. And Chadwick said to me, yeah, so I'll go tomorrow, come, make way, try secure the silver. So when Chadwick said that, no, me, I said, no. But Chadwick went to Casey. So, there was a rivalry, but we were good, like, more brothers than anything else. But when Chadwick said that, me, I said, I respect for my man. So I went to character and actually that year I broke the character record. And, while on the podium, I said, boy, the silver, they look good though. But I got to go. But all right, that leading up to that, like after that, I think I won most of the competitions leading up to a game called CAC, and I think that was in Dominican Republic. So that's just, I feel like I'm the man knowing a man, like, simple thing. So it turns out that I forgot to register my disc in the competition, and Cherry can bigger than mine, so Cherry can throw anything. But I remember, like, I was going, like, competition start, and, I was throwing this big wooden discus. I'm sorry, that was one of the most awful competitions I've ever been in, because at the point we had to be going for the disc and coming back, going for the disc and coming back to actually compete. So it was not really, it wasn't organized well. Mm-hmm. So I remember, like, I threw, like we were all struggling. I think Charlie threw, like, 44, and I threw 47. So I said, based on how this all goes, so I said, I think I can win this with 47. Alright, cool. Like I've been trying to throw farther than 47, and not at all. So I remember when I went to this, like someone threw the disc and I went for this. The whole thing I look up and I see a discus like way up in the sky and fly over my head and drop. So me I run come down now, cause me I say no man. Me a man try to
It was
try to crack it. No man try to crack it through fire, man. So I say yo, do we have any pride because I see the 50 line and I said try to go over the 50 line and me I said that 47 did kind of rough for me. So me I said how chat. Man, like I was so like legit. I was so like I was nervous. I was so frightened. And I said, "Oh my God, how am I gonna respond to this? Cause it's not like say I don't have the ability to respond, but the discuss now work for me." But when I ran to like I was like legit running to the discuss ring because I tell you, I wanted to pee. I wanted to pee, so I legit Chadrick frightened the pee out of me.
Wow.
Legit, I had to
Because of how massive the throw was.
Yeah, it was. I think. All right. At best, I think. My best throw at the time was ever was I think 53-0-3 or 52-99. Chadwick threw about 51-9, basically 52. So me I said, oh my God, if him can't heave that big wooden discuss there, me can't throw that because me I said no sir. So me I said legit I was so like that was the first time like I lost control in terms of competition. Like I had to run in the ring, fling the discus, foul, and go straight to the bathroom because like the pee was fully coming, and I could not stop it like the way how I was nervous. But from that, like literally from that, I have never ever felt nerves in a competition. Like legit, Fedrick Dacres beat the nerves out of me. Like from that, like never ever again. But yeah,
Which kind of surprising because, obviously for, athletes in pressure situations that they may feel nervous or they may go through a system or a routine to make sure they don't feel nervous. Yeah. So you're saying from that experience, you've not felt the type of nerves that brought down?
I have never, like, to the point, I think I was really too composed in competition. Like, when everything else is going on, I never, and I think at a point I was wondering if it was bad because nerves actually, in terms of adrenaline, nerves might help. But I think I was too calm in competition, like nothing really fazed me. Like from that, I have never felt pressured in competition ever. But yeah, that was a story, man. Like
Is it that same approach? Is it because of that and that same approach that you've taken in many international competitions?
Yeah, even though I'm not really like I think I'm way too calm in competition. I'm trying to find back that anxiety, if you know what I mean, like that drive, because I always have the drive. Like it's not really nerves; it's more like me just wanting to throw far. It's not that I'm nervous or my heart is racing or anything. I don't feel anything like that, but I do get anxious in terms of like I want to go and I want to throw far. But in terms of nerves and feeling like I can't do it or whatever, I've never felt that. But yeah, anxiety, like to actually go, yeah, I feel that.
And I want to try segue that because that kind of feeling and that kind of approach. I just was that same approach taken last year when you managed to get silver in the World Championships in Doha in terms of that, calm approach? Was that similar to the approach that you took for those rounds?
Yeah, all right. So for me, World Championships last year with silver, it was more like I think I was a bit anxious, and at the point my technique was not where it was supposed to be. So it wasn't that I was nervous or anything like that, but in terms of the whole technical preparation, I was not as ready as I would have been if whatever happened. So and remember that World Champs last year was in October.
Yeah.
So October we had a very long season. The season started from May. We are not used to this long drawn out season. So for us to actually compete at in October, October is technically background work for us. A lot of people don't even start training in October. Like more people start in November and all that. So it was like uncharted territory, and we weren't as ready. So in terms of technique, my technique was actually breaking down. Everyone's technique was actually breaking down. It was more like who could hold on the longest more than anything else, more than the best person being. Yeah, but the best person did win on the Daniel Stallion. You have to give him, he's the man. But yeah, but it was like really rough in terms of the whole preparation for that, definitely.
And also because it wasn't just your performance, getting the silver. Jamaica had a very impressive performance in the field, with a lot of medals coming from the field. And I just wanted to get your impressions. Do you feel, I guess, have a responsibility to make sure that you continue to improve, to do well, to make sure that you elevate Jamaica's standing in the field events?
Of course. I think I definitely think it's not really my responsibility, but I do think I need to set I just think I need to get athletes in the mindset that it can be done, and I think I've been been doing well in terms of that. So it's more, yeah, it's a responsibility. Definitely, it is a responsibility because allegedly I'm I guess leading a new path in terms of Jamaica in the discus and actually doing well, but yeah, it's more like you just have to see it and believe it. Like for me, I never saw. Well, the person I saw that did it was actually Travis, because Travis was Michael. Travis was actually the first to actually get international medal. And I think that was World Youth where he got bronze. So and to actually train with him and actually gauge where he was and all that, I saw where it could be done, and I think you know others should really take the initiative that it can be done, despite what we think, because we're actually making way in a sport that is not really a Jamaican thing. Yeah. So yeah.
Do you think that not just for yourself and Travis and your training partners, but it's the shot put, it's long jump,
Yeah.
it's triple jump. Do you feel the amount of athletes, not yourself, do you think that this is the best core of Jamaican field athletes that we've had in a while?
Most definitely.
And correct me if I'm wrong, if that's good, but do you think this is the best crop that we've had for in a while?
I definitely think so. We have a shot putter who medal like silver, our silver medalist, and we have a bronze medalist in terms of Odin Richards, and we have Daniel Ladd on females and male. We have the triple jump in terms of Shanika. Kimberly is up there also. So we have a very, like, even in the discus we have myself and Travis. Chad is also there. We have like, I think in terms of future we have like even the we have a world junior champion. Technically, we have two world junior champions with myself and Kai Chang. We have great shot putters. We have a 20. We have two throwers that in their junior years they've thrown over 20 meters. So in terms of that, we have Roger Stoner. So we have a deep, in terms of field, I think we're doing very well, and we do have the potential to be great for years. So at this point, I think we are at our we are. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So yeah. Continue.
Yeah, man. I just think that this is the best crop.
Okay. Well, you're a man that wears a lot of many hats, and not just in fact world championship silver medalist, but you're also trying to sort out your campaign to the International Olympic Committee
Yeah.
mission. I know that things have been, stalled because of COVID, but if you were to say in terms of what you would bring to the commission and what you'd be able to help Olympic athletes, what would you say would be the best part of your personality and your abilities that make you fit to serve on the commission?
I think more. I think more the it's more the straightforwardness, because I think for one, I like to call a spade a spade. I'll tell them as it is, and in terms of actually hearing from the athletes and actually voicing my opinion, I don't have a problem being the bad guy in terms of like that. So if I genuinely have a problem, I won't be the one to shy away to say, okay, I won't voice my opinion. So that has always been my nature. So I'm a person, I would say whatever I think that needs to be said. And I think that's a really good characteristic to actually bring to the table.
Has there been, as there's talk of, a gradual process of, opening back, has there been at least a more focus towards, campaigning as well, in that sense?
Not as yet, because everything is not, it hasn't returned to normalcy as yet. So there, you can't really make plans when you don't know what's going to happen. So with campaign and all, it has been, it has been slowed. But I think in a month or two, we'll probably start getting back to what we're supposed to do, like how we are going to attack this new COVID. Because with the whole situation, we have a whole different platform in terms of actually get across our messages and everything. So there's just that right now.
I know that you were very excited towards, competing in the Olympics this year. That got postponed. I wanted to just get from you, because even though that we're a year out, and maybe there's some skepticism of whether, even though it has been postponed to a year, that it can still happen. What will be in terms of important for the IOC and the local organizing committee to get right, to make sure that athletes, both local and international athletes, are safe for 2021?
I say, what would they need to do? For me, as I said before, I've never experienced where it has been bad. It has really been bad in terms of interaction and people. I just think like probably security has to be a bit more on point in terms of like keeping us away from the general public. I think also we have to make sure that athletes are not bringing diseases or bringing the COVID disease to our COVID virus, sorry, to the villages where we're going to stay or within the hotel, because that is a whole different thing now. So that would not be, an external factor. That would be us bringing in, someone to actually infect the whole entire athletic cohort. So I think they're doing a very good job generally. I think it was generally a very stable and seamless process in terms of actually getting athletes in and out, getting them to compete and all that. So I don't think there's much to do, but they can improve on certain things. Like probably, as I said, probably security. Just a bit more.
And would that include in terms of testing, or if a vaccine happens to be developed before then, would you feel comfortable with mandatory vaccines for COVID before competing?
Well, the vaccine thing. I guess if it has to be done, I guess yeah, but I'm not one for it. If you get what I mean. But if it has to be done, let it be done.
Because obviously there's a lot of variables too.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, but once it's proven to be safe and everything, I won't be the test dummy, so I'll wait until a few people, are okay, and then fine. I'll take it if it's mandatory.
just something that I just want to get in there. You mentioned that before that you were very excited to go to Japan because you're a big fan of anime.
Yeah.
So what I would want to get from you in terms of your top 5.
Anime?
Oh, yeah, yes.
Hey! All right, cool. No, we can talk now. All right. One, all right. Not in any specific order, but I like Attack on Titan. I like I think there's this one named Kiriko's no. Inomaru Sumo. That's one that shit.
That is not familiar to me. That's not familiar to me, but
Ezekiel, yeah. But like you have when I like Dragon Ball Z, I don't like it because I think the whole Goku is just way too overpowered, and they always find a way for him to one up Vegeta.
I think you might have angered a lot of
Anger,
people.
yeah, I know.
I think you
I
might
know
have
a lot of people, are against it, but I'm just saying, I'm not going to put Dragon Ball Z. Probably Dragon Ball Z. No, not even Dragon Ball Z, because Vegeta is my guy. Naruto is 1, so that's 3, and which other one? What Parasite? What is? It's not that bad. It's not bad, but Tokyo Ghoul has a vibe there. One Punch Man, yeah. But my top anime right now would be definitely Haikyuu. I'm sorry.
There's some people in the comments, that are, giving some props to One Punch Man.
Death Note. Death Note is like a doorway to anime. It's not really a top anime. It is a top anime in terms of intellectual. Like, if you don't want the whole brute force fighting, Death Note is there. But I think Death Note is like a door to anime world. Like that's it. But for me, Haikyuu. If you guys don't watch Haikyuu now. Like, believe me, it's a whole volleyball thing. Yeah.
How important is that in terms of you just using it as a means to unwind as a competitor? Is that some of the things that you use anime to do?
Oh my god! I just saw it. Baki is like Baki. If you guys don't know Baki, watch Baki. Baki is there. Yo, Baki. I'm sorry. I must write to them and apologize. Yeah, but I'm definitely Baki. But yeah.
Well,
but yeah.
I was just saying, like how important it is for you to use anime as a means to unwind as a competitor and to kind of use that in terms of to de-stress to at least get your mind off pressure and everything.
Of course. The things that people don't understand that it's like a getaway. You forget what I mean. The real world is a bit stressing and all that. It's just a getaway to see. It's just to get your mind at ease. For me, I use it legit when I travel. I watch a lot of TV, and I watch a lot of I bring my laptop and all that and my tablet, and I'd probably just sit down and watch and binge watch like animes that I've never watched before, or shows or series that I've never watched before. So it is like a getaway for me. So it just it's more about a relaxing thing to ease the stress. And I think, in these times, why not escape to TV land? You know what I mean? Because it's not like you can interact with people outside, because that's forbidden. So, yeah, so why not just, relax, have probably even watch an anime and then get people's thoughts and argue about it, just to, get it up, Yeah.
As well, there's one something I wanted to touch you about. Obviously there's been recent news. The great Usain Bolt, entering into fatherhood.
Yeah.
I just wanted to know in terms of what do you feel in terms of your him becoming a father and your own future plans for maybe a future family of your own down the road.
Well, I don't know about him, as I can't speak for a man, but thank God, he had his kid and everything is safe. But for me, it's of course, I want a child. I definitely want children. I'm definitely want to get married and all that. So, yeah, I think, I want to be like a traditional, father and all that, husband and everything.
Just in terms of for those who may not understand, because last year yourself and Daniel Stahl had a very unique battle, and I just wanted to get from you in terms of what makes him so formidable, and what makes him really hard in terms of the beat.
He's definitely a seasoned thrower, like in terms of the whole. He's been throwing for a while now, and he's definitely seasoned. He's matured in the throws, and he has a great coach. You can't really argue the greatness of Stahl unless you're going to speak about Vestin, which is his coach. Same for me. But I think he's a very big guy. Like he's a very big guy. Like he's I think 6'8", am I wrong? 6'8", 6'9". I think 363 pounds. He has found a way to move that weight properly and efficiently, and that makes him very, very deadly. But yeah, I think in terms of he's a great guy, man. That's why it's so formidable.
Well, I think the big question is how, in terms of your chances. Obviously, we didn't get to see that kind of battle this year, but for next year, how do you like your chances of?
Yeah.
How do you like your chance to get him for next year?
Yeah, man. Just competing and all. Great guy, man. Great guy.
Mm-hmm. One of the questions that I asked, and I think maybe you touched on this a little bit, but do you think that field events, because of what the great success that had last year, do you think that we're able to continue the banner going forward, even with the inactivity?
Yeah, remember as I said before, we have a great crop of athletes. We have really, really, really talented kids coming up, and when I retire, I'm pretty sure that Jamaican throws will be okay.
One of the our persons viewing, Scottish Berry, asks how you're doing with lockdown in Jamaica.
Good. I say it's not really a big thing for me. I can go outside. Well, until a certain time, but yeah, I'm good. I don't want to go outside that time unless I'm at training. So I'm good. I'm solid.
Let's see. Please try get your questions in now. We're closing off in a few moments. So please, if there's any questions that you would like to ask Fedrick, please feel free to do so now. Somebody just gave you the thumbs up there as well. In terms of the camaraderie between yourself and Travis, how in terms of you describe the bond that you guys have as training partners, pushing each other in terms of to do the very best.
Yeah. Like it's really alright. So for us, it's like it's past like just being competitors. We've been together for like about 7 years, like in terms of like training partners and everything, and coming up. He's my senior, so I know him, he knows me. It's anything like malicious towards each other, but we always want to try to one up each other. Nothing is wrong with that, it's always keeping the competitive spirit. But yeah, having him as a training partner, I can't slip up. If I slip up, he beats me, and that's honest truth. And I think I would have done the same for him in terms of push. So yeah.
One of our, I think what Sailor George is asking, do you have any intention in taking part in any Diamond League meets this year?
Well, to be honest, I have no. Well, yeah, I've seen the list, and I think I'll be in a few Diamond Leagues.
Well, so it's not just past consideration, but you're just seeing in terms of. Have you decided in terms of which events?
No, we actually have a list, so we're saying okay, which meets we'll go and which meets we won't go. But yeah.
Okay, and then we have one final question in terms of to wrap things up. The first thing that you will do when things return to normal.
I want to drive at night.
Whoa, really?
It sounds simple, but I normally get up like probably like 3 o'clock in the night and just go and drive to Burger King. So I do miss those drives.
those
You,
drives.
you don't appreciate it until it's gone, But yeah. So when everything has returned to normalcy, that's one of the things I shall partake in.
Okay. And just one final question to just sneak in. As it relates to throwing, do you plan to give back to the discipline as a coach post-retirement?
I'm not really the best. Like, I'm not really patient. So in terms of coaching, I'd probably be an advisor to the coach. I don't mind doing that, but I would want to give back to the discipline by being a part of the councils. If you know what I'm saying, so I can actually advocate. So it's more like a step up where I can be a part of the administration to actually help athletes that are not really heard. But I cannot even say that right now because by that time, I think field events will be very loud in terms of the whole Jamaican sphere. So yeah, but that's my intention to actually give back as an administrator. Try to be a part of each council to represent my discipline well. For me, that's one of the main reasons why I am pushing forward to actually be a part of the IOC council, so I can give a voice to the throwers. Yeah.
And because of that, you see yourself really in an administrative role in the future.
Yeah, most definitely.
Well, Fedrick, this has been really, really, really fun.
Yeah, well,
I'm pretty sure for myself and for our listeners. First of all, thank you very, very much. Really, really appreciate the time. Keep safe, and we're looking forward to hearing great things in the future.
thanks for having me, man.
No problem, Fedrick. Thanks very much. And thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Join us next Thursday. We'll have another interesting guest for you guys. And thank you so much for tuning in. See you next week.